Today we're going to do some soil testing, and we're going to start by doing pH testing. And I'm going to use these kits. I have two different kits. This is a pH home test. I shouldn't necessarily call it a home test kit, but a non-laboratory kit. And this one is for kind of a regular range of pH, 5 to 7.2, and there's two different chemicals in it. The bromoethol blue, which is for 6.0 to 7.2, and the chlorophenol red, which is 5.0 to 6.2. And these chemicals have this little sheet that we use to color match with. And so it's two separate tests, and we use these little dishes. We'll fill up each dish about, 2/3 of the way full and drip some chemicals in. And then I'll walk through how to do the rest. So I've got two of my samples loaded up here, and I'm going to load up the third. And I have three different samples that I'm working with. One from my backyard, one from a grassy area that I need to reseed, and then one from my side garden, which is where I dug the percolation test hole. I don't know what order you'll see that in, but you'll see that soil if you haven't already. And so I have three different tests. And typically when you take a soil test, you want to take multiple samples from the area that you want to gather the pH from. And so, for example, the area where the grass I want to reseed, it's probably about a 15 square foot area. I took 6 samples scattered throughout that area and mixed them together. And then I let them dry in these bags for a couple of days before I did the pH test. I don't want the moisture in the soil to affect the pH test. So I'm just filling these little divots here with some soil, and I want to make sure I don't have rocks or lots of organic matter like roots or worms. And I'm going to pull out anything that looks like it's not going to be useful. Okay. And I have a separate spoon for each one so that I don't contaminate them with each other. And I don't know how well you can see it right now, but they already look a little bit different. The color in them is a little bit different. This one's a little more chunky. This one is very fine. This is the grass area, and this was fill at one point. And then this is a little less sandy looking. And after I do the pH test, I'm going to do texture tests. And so we'll get a really good understanding of what the texture is on these soils. So I'm going to open up my soil pH indicators. And as much as possible, don't touch the soils with your hands. And I'm going to do the red on one side. I'm just going to fill it to saturate it and then give it a couple extra drops. So it has enough to work around with. And that one has a little more soil in it than probably should. It'll be okay. And then I'm going to come back through and do the green. So this is for our normal range of pH. And I have a different test if we find out that the pH is really high or really low. And already I'm seeing some color change. So how this works from this point is that we take each one of these little dishes and rock it back and forth for about a minute. And we'll cut ahead to that point. All three of my tests have been sitting for about a minute and have been agitating them, rocking them back and forth. So now what I'm going to do, that one out of the way, is just gently tap on the plastic to get some of that liquid to drop down the channel into the smaller spot at the bottom. I got the one, see if we can get the other one. Come on. Probably should have put one more drop of liquid in this side. There we go. And now I can tip it back up and I can use my color indicator. And just looking at it, I can tell that this one is highly alkaline. And so I have over 7.2, 7.2 or higher on my blue test, 6.2 or higher on my red test. And so if you look at the chart, it starts at 5, goes to 6.2, and this is the red test on the bottom. I know that I'm off the chart on my red, so I jump up here to my blue, and I'm off the chart on this one as well. And so we will be repeating this with the high range chemicals in just a moment. And that is my side garden, which I'm kind of surprised it's that high. Explains a few things. And I don't put lime in my yard. And so lime is something that you can add to the soil. Well, it's a rock. You add it to the soil and it increases your pH. I'm going to do this one first before I get that other one to come out. And actually, I can tell the red one is over 6.2. And so it doesn't really matter if that, since that one's not coming down. So this one, I'm going to line up as best as I can with the colors. And I just need a little bit. You don't want it to be too full in that channel. And so I'm in that 7.0, 7.2 range. And so I'll probably do the high range test for this one as well to see if I can tease it out a little bit more, get a little more accurate. So I'm in the 7.0 range there. This last one is different, which is good. There's one side. You can see how different that color is. Maybe we'll do this again. So this is the blue. Oh, you can see there was a little bit of something left in the residual on the back there. Probably some water. So I'm at the bottom end of my blue test. The 6.0, 6.2, 6.0 range. So I do want to see how the red looks. Just drop some of that in there. There's one way to do it. And so, wow, this one, 5.8, 6.0. I'm in that range of things. I don't know if you can see that. And so 5.8 or 6.0 for the backyard. So I've reset this to test the grass and the side garden, which this one tested at 7.0 to 7.2, and this one was 7.2 or higher. We're going to test it with our wide range kit, which this one is the phenol red indicator for pH of soils 7.0 to 8.2. And so I'm going to repeat that same process where I'm going to saturate it and then give it a couple extra drops. Give it 1 and 1 just for good measure. Close it up. And again, we'll let them sit and soak and agitate for about a minute. And as I was resetting this, I was thinking about the side garden, this one here, and why it's so high. A few years back, I had an official test done by Cornell, and it was much lower, like 5.8 or 6.2 or something like that. I'm gonna have to go find that sheet. And so I was really kind of surprised that it is so high. And I'm thinking that, so this is a garden space, and we put these old concrete pavers down the middle of the garden. We used to have a big strawberry bed in there, and we use those pavers to access it from both sides. And I'm wondering if those pavers have been leaching lime out of them into the soil. I might have to go and collect a sample from the side yard in a spot near the garden, but not in the garden, just to compare it, because it's very strange. Because the backyard one, which is 5.8 to 6.0, that one is in a spot where we don't do anything. There's just grass back there. And so this is kind of the native soil, this 5.8, 6.0. So this is what I kind of expected in my garden. This is why we take soil tests and in different places. So it's been enough time. So I'll look at the side garden first. And let that drop down and see where it keys out. And so again, I'm going to use my coder here. And so this is a different, it's like a secret decoder ring, different coder. And 7.8, yikes. 8.0, 8.2. I'm in this range somewhere, 7.8 to 8. Oh, that's awfully high. There are a few plants that like to be, I'm just writing it right on the bag, that like to be really that alkaline. Interesting. Okay. And so the grass, I got some schmutz in there. So here's the grass. The grass is also keying out kind of high, maybe not quite as high. 7.6 to 7.8, also really high. I've just been putting some wood ash down because this is a spot where we have dog pee, and so I can stop doing that. And it's interesting, I only did that a couple times. So the dog killed the grass. So the soil must have been relatively alkaline before that. So that spot is fill, where that grass needs to be fixed. I don't know what to do there other than we'll just reseed. So, but this is why we do pH tests. If I know that I'm having a problem with the plant, a pH test is a good place to start because I'll know if the nutrients that are in the soil are even available to the plant. And so pH is the acidity or alkalinity of the soil, and it determines whether or not a plant can take up the nutrients that are available, that are in the soil, whether those nutrients are available or not. And in some cases, when the pH is very out of line with the plant that you're trying to grow, the plant will struggle. We'll see chlorosis or sometimes death because it's not accustomed to that pH.